So Gemini, your week beginning the 1st of December forecast does see a full moon in your zodiac sign, but we have a lot of other competing energies on top of that, and one of the best is that Venus has moved into your opposite sign. In the run up to Christmas, this could spark an attraction to someone that is very mesmeric, but it also gives you an opportunity to achieve greater harmony and goodwill in a relationship that may have been bumping along the bottom, but it's not a given. And one of the other things, of course, is that your ruler Mercury is now direct. But Mercury from the 19th of November until late last week was in a part of your chart to do with details. And if you did rush something or something missed your gaze, it may be something you do need to address as you go into this week, particularly as far as your career is concerned. Because if you can, there is traction to be gained. Mercury in the 6th house is very much about routines, but it's also about what we provide in terms of services. The 10th house, where Saturn is, that's much more to do with the responsibilities that we have, our connection to people in positions of influence, and it may be our goals and ambitions. But Jupiter in its retrograde is in your 2nd house of everyday money. So if you can nail down the details, use the diplomacy of Venus while you're certainly making progress, but then we have that full moon. And the full moon does ask you in a way to understand that your relationship situation, if it has been a little bit out of kilter, will require some care. And you may decide that the best way to go forwards is by being brusque and assertive. And you're supported, if that's your choice, by Mars being in the sign of Sagittarius, but Mars does clash bitterly with Saturn at the end of this week. Sometimes the best way forwards is not to be too impatient to get an outcome. It will require some tact. If you go the tactful route, I feel you could get a breakthrough, particularly if you're reaching out to someone and you want to build up a rapport with them, or maybe it is things have been a bit rocky with a colleague, or perhaps even within your family. If impatience gets the better of you, what will happen as Mars squares off to Saturn is you will try to crush that opposition in a very forceful way, but that won't do much for that goodwill. Sometimes in life we have to appreciate that other people do see things differently to us. It doesn't necessarily make them right, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're absolutely right either. Sometimes the best outcome is to agree to disagree, but keep the lines of communication open. So I think what Venus is essentially saying to you is celebrate the good bits, and if there are bits that aren't quite so perfect, just try to work on those. But if you can just marshal any sense of frustration that could come up with the full moon, I think that is the best way to go. But you can order your personal horoscope for next year, your 12 months transits, but get the rest of this month free, 30% off, but also get your life roadmap report as well. Now, that's a really powerful document, helping us to understand the patterns that have played out in our lives. A combination of the two helps us to plan our moves that much more succinctly. Also, you get a free gift of my general love Chinese and Indian written forecast for each of the 12 signs. Please see the link below for more.